I want to do a picture of a tropical fish, and it's very colorful, and it looks something like this. I have several of these that I'm working on. I used some brighter colors on this fish, and that looks pretty good. Also, you could put, like, this fish maybe has lots of little baby fish swimming all around. Or you could put an octopus in here, a seahorse, jellyfish, or just anything you can think of for creative thinking. The creative thinking is really fun, so I hope that you'll come up with something for that. And here's how we'll start on this. Now, you're going to put your hand on the paper like this, and you're going to leave it there for a very long time. You'll put your hand nice and flat so that your finger points to this edge. Don't let it touch the edge. You've got to have some space in there. Pull your thumb up against your fingers like that. And we're going to put 3 dots. One there, here, and here. But let me do it first. First, put your finger right here on your hand. Right here in the widest part of your hand. Put your finger right there. Slide off your hand, leave a white space, and put a dot. Now, go from that dot, go right back here on the same place on your hand. Make sure you're in the wide place on your hand. Slide off the bottom, leave a white space, and put a dot. Now, I don't think there are any takeaway lines on this, so I'll go ahead and use a marker and darken these in. Now, don't move your hand. I'm just going to darken these in so you can see 1 dot's there. 1 dot is here. In the next dot, you slide right down your finger. Go off the end of your finger, leave a space, leave a white space, and put a dot. Now leave your hand there. Don't move your hand until I say. We're going to go from here to here around our hand, but not tracing our fingers. Leave your hand in place for a very long time. Stop when you get there. Go from here, go around your hand on the bottom. Stop when you get there. And when you move it, it looks something like an iron. It looks like you could iron a shirt with it, sort of. A whole lot the shape of one. All right, now we're going to put a mouth on this thing somewhere right in here. Just like this. Put a little smiling lip right there. Go above that and put an eye, ever how big or small you want the eye to be. Just like that. Do an eyebrow right here. Then we go right behind the eye, just right behind the eye, and we make a letter C. It's just going to be a letter C, only it's going to hook in under the mouth. Watch, you can watch me make it, and then you make it right there. Come right up under, hook on right there. And that's about all we're going to do on the front of the fish. Okay, now we got to put the tail on the fish. We're going to have to turn him this way for a little while. And we want to see if these 2 lines come to the same place. So you can put your pencil on your paper and slide it up. Make sure your pencil's nice and flat straight across the paper. And if one line's a little bit shorter than the other, you can lengthen the short line just a little bit so that those are about the same. So if you lay a pencil, it's about the same. Now, if you have a little itty-bitty short stubby pencil, you'll just have to lay it on there and imagine that it goes across. Alright, if you got your pencil nice and flat across your paper like that, you can slide your finger up toward it and stop. Don't touch it. Leave a space. Then you can pick your pencil up and put 1 line that's a fingernail long right here and 1 line that's a fingernail long right there. Right beside your finger like that. Then when you move your finger, you can put a line across the bottom, put a line across the top of that little shape right there, and you've got a little rectangle. And if you turn it back around, this rectangle should be behind these lines. Now, put your finger right here. Point to the top, slide up, put a little tiny, just a little tiny dot right there. and then slide down and put one right here. Now, we're not going to hook on to those dots exactly. We're going to use them, and that's going to help us get a couple more lines in place. All right, first, I don't care how you turn your paper, but put your finger on this corner and put a little starter line right there, because we're going to start right there on that corner, and we're going to go this way. I want to go right up in here. And as I go, I'm going to use a pencil because I may have to change this line. I want this to curve like a rainbow. And I want it to come right back onto the I want it to come right back on this line so that kind of makes a rainbow. Now that looks pretty good, so I'll go ahead and darken mine in so you can see what I've got. And I've got to do it again on the bottom. You turn your paper however you're comfortable. Get your little starter line first. And remember now, we're gonna make it's like we're hooking onto this line and we're making this like a rainbow shape. I'm drawing with a pencil because I want to go light so that I can make changes to this line if I need to. Don't worry about these things sticking out. We're going to make fins out of those later. I just want to come right down like this. That looked pretty good, so I went ahead and darkened it in. And you know, while I'm at it, I'll point my finger toward the gill right there, and I'll put a little tiny shape like that. And then I'm going to put, it's like the roof of a house, like that. And then some little W's across that makes a fin. And then we're going to make the tail fin a whole lot the same way. What I like to do, and I'll use a pencil for this because we may have to change it, I like to slide my 3 fingers right up against this little triangle I made. And once again, we're going to hook onto the corner. Your starter lines have to hook onto those corners. And I'm going to make this line slant like the roof of the house, but I'm going to bring it all the way out here. You see this line right here? If I went down, it goes like this. I want to bring this line out a little ways, and I want to check. Not far enough. I'm going to bring it out a little more, and I want to check. That might work. That's probably about far enough. And I want to make the tail. I'll bend that line just a little bit on the end. So I want to make the tail. Now I got to make this other line. I got to make this line just like this one. So I'll work slowly, and I'll see. I'll bring it out some, and I'll bend it. And this doesn't have to all be perfect. I'm just trying to get these as much the same as I can. And they won't be perfectly the same. If wanted them the same, I'd have to erase this line and change it a little bit. But you know what? That'll work. And so what I do is just put little W's right across there. They're not very well made W's, but little W's will work. And then a few streaky lines. And that shows the shape of the fin, tail fin. Now, lay your finger. You have to spread your hand out. You just have to get your finger flat. Get these other fingers out of the way. And lay your finger, slide it right up against this line and push it up. You want to touch the fish right here. You want to touch the fish and this finger be laying right along that tail fin. And put a very light line because you probably have to erase it. Just put a light line right beside your finger like that. Very light line. And I'm going to look at this line. And then I'm going to see if I can hook this and this together and make it look like a fin. And I think I can. If I hook this line on like this, if I go up this way and bend it onto the fish, and then I can bring this line out to meet it, and that's where I get the shape of the fin. When I bring that, I'll kind of make that like a V. Now we got to do the same thing here. You got to slide your finger up against that tail fin, push it up against the fish, get your little starter line in there. Very light because you don't want to draw dark at first. If something needs to be changed, it's hard to change if you draw dark. Then I want to bend that line right up onto the fish. And then I want to see what I can do, how I can hook this to this. Kind of like a V shape right there. And you know, that doesn't look bad. After I double check everything, I Darken it all in. That gives you just a moment to catch up if you're a little bit behind. And now it's time to, time to do two or three things. We've got our choice. We can go ahead and put some color spots or decorations or scales or whatever we're going to do on our fish. Or we could draw the ground. I'm going to go ahead and put my fingernail right here and put my name so that I'll know how much other space I've got for the aquarium. This could be an aquarium, or it could be under the sea, like you're scuba diving and you're looking at this. There could be schools of fish around here, and I named lots of stuff on the start that that you could have in this picture. But I'm going to put some lines across my fin like this, just a few. Maybe I'll hook them to the fish's body, let them stick out. I'll try to do the same thing. I want to try to keep it pretty much the same on both sides. This is where you can make all kind of creative changes. If you don't like, what I'm doing with this, you can make creative changes. I'm just going to put some big color spots on my fish. I'm just going to do some designs that don't follow any pattern. They're just designs. You can have some small ones, big ones, or you could put wiggles down here and make it striped. You can decorate your fish so that it looks like anything you want it to look like. And you don't have to do this. If you want to do this long, it's like a spike shaped fin, you can put it right there. It's not hard to do. It's just like a needle. Just comes down to a point and comes back. I'm going to go ahead and darken that in because there's not enough room to color in between those dark lines anyway, and I've seen them that they're this color, so we're okay. Maybe one more spot of color. Then when you color these in, you can make these very, very, very colorful. Or as I said, you could make different designs on your fish. Now that's not a bad looking fish. Now we've got to put it in an aquarium or in some kind of environment. So I'm just going to draw a few lines that show like the bottom of an aquarium. And here's where you really, really get a chance to do some creative thinking. Because you can put anything you want around your fish. But we've got just a few minutes to work on color. I can see that we're doing pretty good on time. So I'm going to work on color for just a little while. And I'm going to show you. You don't have to do this with me. You know what? Before I do the color, maybe I better put a ripple across here. Don't do this until you see me do it. And then if you don't want it, you don't have to do it. I'm going to put ripples up here. They're like little W's to show the top of the water. And I usually like to put some kind of wiggly grass. Just gives